And joining us again at Winter Ready DC 2017. Once again, I'm Renee Nash. I am the News and Public Affairs Director for WHUR. Next up, we have another panel. Coming up, and you're going to hear from representatives from various DC government agencies on how they can assist utility consumers here in the nation's capital during winter. And so let us introduce you to our second panel. First up, we have Maurice Smith. He is the Director of the Office of Consumer Services for the DC PSC. Pamela Nelson, Energy Outreach Specialist for the Office of the People's Council. Kenley Farmer, Associate Director of Energy Affordability and Efficiency Division for the District's Office of the Environment and Energy. And Tommy Jones, Director of the Mayor's Office of Community Relations. And finally, we have Anthony Stevens, Volunteer Engagement Director for Serve DC. Thank all of you for joining us today for the conversation. So as we did with our first panel, I want to start with each of you, and Maurice, we'll start with you first, in providing opening remarks about who you are, and particularly your agency, and how does your agency assist district residents when it comes to preparing for winter?
Good morning. My name is once again, I'm the Director of the Office of Services. We are the division within mediating and resolving consumer complaints. That's our primary responsibility, but we also engage with the community through our community outreach. We go out several times a year. We've had a very busy summer, and also in the wintertime, talk directly with consumers about matters affecting them in their utility services. We also engage and communicate with consumers through our public relations and our media relations department. As you might have heard, for those who were here for the first panel, social media is very important. We're very active on social media. We have accounts on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and that's another way we reach consumers with education and information.
Thank you. Same question for you, Pamela. What specifically does your agency do to assist city residents?
Okay, thank you. First of all, let me just tell you.
And hold the mic directly like that. Yes, ma'am.
Let me just share with you who the Office of the People's Council is. We're by law, and of course the Office of the People's Council is headed by Sandra Matthew Fry, your People's Council, my boss. We are by law the public advocate for consumers of natural gas, electricity, and local landline services. Translation for you, that means that the office represents your interests in matters affecting your utility services, conducts a variety of outreach and educational programs and workshops about a myriad of energy matters, and of course, we resolve hundreds of consumer utility complaints each year. Specifically, how does the office get you ready for winter? The office per se does not offer programs, but we do offer several services. We've got one of those services, of course, includes an energy efficiency outreach, where we share with residents through hands-on demonstration of simple and practical energy efficiency products. They're products that you use every day in your home, how you can make your home more energy efficient to save on your heating bills. We also break it down by seasons. We're getting ready to get into the winter season, so we share with you specific tips that you should do or begin to do in preparation of getting your energy actually lower so that you can see energy.
All right, so same question for you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning. Can you hear me okay? My name is Kenley Farmer. I'm the Associate Director for the Affordability and Efficiency Division at the Department of Energy and Environment. That division is within the Energy Administration at the department. Our department is headed by Director Tommy Wells. We do a myriad of things when it comes to energy and environment in the city. Today, I'm here to specifically talk about our energy assistance programs, as well as some other new programs that are coming online with the agency. So I think two that folks are most familiar with are our low-income home energy assistance program, LIHEAP. So that's a direct cash benefit to your utility bill. And then the second is the Weatherization Assistance Program. So this is a direct install program for energy efficiency measures and weatherization. In addition, the Sustainable Energy Utility, Ted is here, you'll hear more from him about that. Our agency oversees their work as well. So excited to be here today. Thank you.
All right, same question for you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. My name is Tommy Jones. I'm the Director of the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services. We are an agency that works directly with you, the residents, all 680,000 residents here in the District of Columbia. Our responsibility and charge directly comes from Mayor Bowser. We are her eyes and ears throughout all communities. We represent you at various civic association meetings, ANC meetings, and provide direct support to residents when they're trying to or need various district government services. So we have two representatives in each ward that many of you might see or have a direct relationship with.
Thank you. Same thing for you, Mr. Stevens.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Anthony Stevens. I'm the Volunteer Engagement Director with Serve DC, the Mayor's Office on Volunteerism. And that's also the DC Commission for National and Community Service, where we look to engage district residents to tackle some of the district's most critical issues or challenges through service. Our three focus areas are national service and volunteerism, general volunteerism, and emergency preparedness, which is what we'll be speaking on today in concerns of the volunteer snow team.
All right. Thank each of you for your opening statement. Maurice, let me start back with you. Many DC residents are not clear about the differences and the roles between the DC PSC and the Office of the People's Counsel. Both of you have consumer offices. Can you speak to us about how the consumer services that OCS provides or OPC provides and how it differs from the services of OPC? So I'm getting my acronyms incorrect.
I got it.
OCS and the difference between OCS and OPC, if you will.
Fundamentally, the two consumer divisions, I think we're trying to do the same thing. We're trying to resolve disputes among consumers and their issues. That includes an educational component. We're trying to inform them of what's available for them, how they can get assistance, how we can help them. Now, that being said, we're the regulatory authority, so we're not an advocate. We can't take sides. We have to balance the interests of both the utility and the consumer. But that doesn't mean we can't do our job. When a consumer comes to us, they've got a complaint or an issue or they need information. And through investigation and consulting the regs, we can do that. We can provide that. We have a very high rate of resolution of complaints within our division. So the fact that we have a different role than the Office of the People's Counsel, and I won't speak for them, I'll let Ms. Nelson do that, doesn't hinder or affect our ability to provide service. We're also able to provide mediation services, and that during the course of a consumer complaint can be very important. Not surprisingly, sometimes these disputes just don't work themselves out right away. As a final resort, before it goes to a more formal stage before the commission, we can conduct what we call an informal hearing, we bring the utility and the consumer in, we face-to-face, and with someone from my staff or myself acting as a mediator, and we try to resolve the issue and reach a settlement. We're pretty successful in that as a final resort. So I would say those are the major differences between the two offices.
Pamela, what's your take on the differences between DCPSC, Office of Consumer Services, and CPC's Consumer Office?
Okay, thank you. First, please allow me to state the roles of OPC and the PSC.
Put your microphone up directly to your mouth.
First, are you hearing me? I think this microphone may not be working. Thank you. First, I must state the roles of OPC and the PSC to show you the difference between the agency's consumer services. The PSC, as Maurice says, regulates public utilities and makes decisions about rates they will charge and the service they will provide. OPC is the consumer utility advocate. Simply put, the advocate representing or defending your utility interests in a myriad of ways, including, of course, appearances before the Public Service Commission on your behalf of a variety of utility matters. Therefore, OPC Consumer Services, under OPC's mandate, is tasked with the responsibility of representing consumers complaining about utility rates and services independently and or in a formal proceeding for the PSC for really fair and just resolutions. Additionally, our Consumer Services Division is charged with consistent outreach and education about numerous utility-related matters to district utility consumers. That is so that we can ensure that you, our customers, are not only informed, but you're knowledgeable about all related utility issues to make your best informed choices. So basically, that's the difference.
Okay. And just to remind the panelists, these are basically what's called unidirectional microphones. You need to speak directly into it. So when I go off like this, it's not going to catch me because I'm on the side of the mic. So I got to speak directly in front of the microphone. So when you do like that and you're talking, they're not capturing what you're saying back there. In addition, it's not catching it on Facebook. So, okay. Thank you so much. So, Kinley, can you tell us about the weatherization programs available to district residents, as well as your energy workshops? Give us that details, please.
Sure. So the weatherization program, if you're interested in this program, I can kind of tell you what it means and then also how you can enroll if you would like to apply. So the income guidelines for weatherization are the same as for the low-income home energy assistance program. We have a handout at the table out front that has those guidelines listed so you can see what that looks like. I do also want to mention that I think some folks are aware that there was a pretty scary time for us when we thought that our budget would be wiped out. The president proposed a zeroing out of both LIHEAP and weatherization. For FY18, we expect to have flat funding. So in FY17, we had about $10 million for LIHEAP funding, and then around $500,000 to $600,000 for weatherization. We expect to have the same amount of funding in FY18, so that was a big relief. So weatherization, as I mentioned, is about energy efficiency measures. So it's about making the home more efficient. It's governed by US DOE, and they've recently kind of increased the level of kind of technical assessment of a home. So we go in, we do a blower door test. We have auditors who will look, at all aspects of your home and determine, what makes sense in terms of energy efficiency measures. That can also include insulation, air sealing, as well as health and safety measures. So things like carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors. So if you have folks who are interested, I know today is about train the trainer. So the first step is to apply for assistance through the LIHEAP program. You can do that a number of ways. One thing I really want folks to know about is we have an online application on our website. So you can go to a library, you can do it from home, and we process those applications in no more than 5 days. So there's a quick turnaround on that. The other option is to call 311 and make an appointment at one of our energy centers. So those are located on MLK Avenue in Southeast and then at 1207 Taylor Street in Northwest. Once you go to that appointment or apply online, then you can tell them, I want to apply for weatherization. And so then you can fill out an application there and we will bring you into that program and start moving through those steps of the audit, actually doing the measures. We do, our agency does an inspection after the measures are installed, so we want to make sure that everything's done properly.
Okay. Thank you. Tommy, next question is for you. Talk to us about how the Mayor's Office of Community Relations can be of assistance to DC residents, particularly during the winter.
Well, for that question, our office continuously works with district residents in the event of a snow emergency, in a non-event of a snow emergency. We're a 24/7 office that responds to residents' concerns at any given time. But how our office can work, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, how our office can work with you, your resident. One, find out who your, when whatever ward you're living in, we have 2 different representatives. So you can go to our website at mocrs.dc.gov. You can look through the list. It has their cell phone number. It has
Say
their,
that website one more time slowly for us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Maybe I'm just so excited about our office that, so it's mocrs.dc.gov. And so it will tell you who your particular MOCR is, and the individual that you can call, and they can be able to answer your questions. Or you can call our office, which is 202-442-8150. That's our Mayor's Office of Community Affairs. So that office, we have individuals that are available from 9 to 5. They answer our lines and will direct you to your particular MOCR.
Where's the 24/7 number?
So
Oh, you're getting to that. You're glad I asked that. Yes.
So how I say that we're 24/7 is because each one of our MOCRs carries a cell phone. So we try to be accessible as much as possible to individuals that may call us. So our numbers are all public, but we also we recognize that we have, our goal is to have 4-hour turnaround time where we respond back to you in a timely fashion. But we also ask a couple of things that the district provides for all of us. One is using 311, which is the Office of Unified Communications system for responding to district residents. So you can put your 311 request in, that's routed. And what's helpful for us is when we have that number, your service request number, we're able to work with you and the district agency. Then also there's 211, which is very important. So some people know a lot about 311, but do not know about 211, which is an opportunity for them to provide health and human services. So we ask when you know of a resident that needs particular services for them to call 211, and that will help them with some of our human service needs. We also, in the hall, I noticed that we had our Homeland Security Emergency Management office as well. So signing up for the HSEMA application where you can find out different things that are going on in a as well. So these are a number, plethora of programs that district government agencies provide, but how our office can help you is we can help you by being your connector. We're the ones that work on a daily basis with different district agencies. I see my colleagues throughout different agencies that are here to support you. I see our council members' offices are as well. We work with them in time to time because our number one goal is to make sure that all 680,000 plus residents receive the services that our district provides for them each and every day.
Thank you. So, Tommy, same question, kind of going back to you a little bit, that I can imagine you guys get flooded with calls,
Yes.
particularly when we have a snow event, from persons who say, listen, my street has not been hit. And then the media, we come and look at the street and see it hasn't been hit either. What is your suggestion for persons if they haven't heard back from someone from the city after making a request for snow removal?
Couple of things. The first thing is to be patient. Um, and I say that, and I know everyone laughed, right? But that's true. We have agencies from the Department of Transportation to the Department of Public Works to the Department of Human Services that are assessing the snow emergency. So in the event that we're going into a particular snow emergency, we've got to let the district work. And I know that's crazy to say, but you got to let them work. And you have to let them try to figure out and triage, because they have individuals that are working throughout. But let's take your question. One thing is we want to say to dial 311. That is our Office of Unified Communication. They're working in partnership with the Department of Public
Is that a 24/7 number too, or is
I
it
believe
9
so.
to 5?
Yes. Yes.
It's 24/7.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So I want to say that because we're all working in partnership to make sure that the snow is removed, streets are functioning, and our mayor wants to make sure that you as residents are able to know that the district offices are open and you are able to go back and conduct business. So one, I always want to stress, be patient. The second one is, in doubt, you have a problem, utilize our 311 service.
All right. So, Anthony, how does a DC resident who needs snow removed get added to your list? And what is your list, I would imagine? Yeah. Is that the VIP list?
No.
Everybody's a VIP?
Well, everyone in the city is a VIP.
Absolutely.
All of our residents are VIPs. So to be added to our list, well, you know that we have, of that 680,000 that Director Jones mentioned, we've got tens of thousands of people that are our senior citizens, folks that are that have access and functional needs. So our first duty is to connect volunteers to those populations that need help the most. They may not have
and how
family.
How do you determine that? How is that?
Yep.
How is that done?
Yep. So a lot of these individuals are already on DPW snow exemption lists, or they have full service.
Snow exemption list?
Yep, and that's through 311.
That means you can call God and make sure that He does not put any snow on my street.
No. No. So that list directly is it puts them in a place where if a snow emergency occurs, they will not see any penalties for not having their snow removed. Okay. And these populations are found through the pre-existing programs in the city. So they have disabilities per ADA. They are registered with the Office of Disability Rights and the District Disability Services. These folks are participants in the Office on Aging programs.
If I'm a newly planted resident in DC, I just moved here this summer. Yep. How do I get on your list for this winter?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Utilizing the tools that Director Jones pointed out, most times we are accepting referrals from other agencies that people are working with. But if they are, new residents to the district and they aren't connected with any government services or agencies, I'd say that it's on us as good stewards of the community to pass the word throughout our community that these services exist. Utilizing 311 and 211, as Director Jones pointed out.
Okay. So consumers should know that if they have any issues with a utility company, they can contact the DC PSC or OPC for assistance. Pamela, how does OPC assist consumers if they have a complaint with a utility company?
Thank you. OPC assists consumers through many different avenues. You can call our office and you will be guaranteed to get a live voice. And that's Monday through Fridays from 9 to 5:45. I'm sorry, to 5:15. I actually do 5:45. That's why it's in my head. Actually,
So 5:15?
5:15.
Okay.
And you will always be guaranteed, again, to get a live voice. You will get a call back almost instantaneously. We are very much concerned about the needs of our consumers, and we want you to feel that we are definitely here for you and we're doing everything possible. You can also email us. You can also come into the office in person. And again, we're easily accessible by Metro Rail and also by Metro Bus. Metro Rail, our closest location would be McPherson Square. We are less than a 2 minutes walk from McPherson Square to our office. You can also, we get complaints through various avenues. We work very, very closely with just about every district government agency. So we get complaints from social services agencies, from the council's office, from ANC commissioners, from nonprofit groups. And again, it's one of the motto of our People's Council, Sandra Matthew Fry, is that every resident matters and every resident must be treated as if you are that resident.
So, for example, I am a Pepco customer. I'm having a challenge paying my bill, and Pepco is not. Then I'm not picking on Pepco. It's just one that I'm just happen to think of, and I need some assistance. They're not quite being cooperative. What are you going to do for me specifically?
Okay, specifically, first of all, when you call our office, let's say if you're calling, we need to know if you're the consumer of record. Are you that person, in other words, whose name is on record with Pepco as the customer? Your account number, your address, and of course, what is the problem? What steps you may or may not have taken with Pepco, and we take it from there. You pretty much sit back and give us the opportunity to work on that problem for you. And if I can toot our horn or my own horn, we're extremely good at doing that, and I'm sure some members in the audience who've used our office could support that. We want to be sure that you get a fair and reasonable, as a matter of fact, satisfactory resolution. So we really go backwards. Pepco, just an aside, and Washington Gas hates to see us coming.
Give out your telephone number for us in the website for people who may not have it.
Sure. You can reach OPC at 202-727-3071 or our website, www.opc, and by the way, OPC, Office of the People's Council, the acronym, opc-dc.gov, and that's G as in give, O as in on, V as in Victor. Sometimes my accent gets the gov a little bit off, so I want to be sure that you get it. Wow. And of course, we have a Facebook and a Twitter presence. Please don't ask me to give you those, but I can actually, I'm just joking. Could I share that with them as well?
Sure.
Okay. So our Facebook page, it's DC People's Council. Our Twitter is, of course, at DCOPC. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Maurice, can you explain to us OCS's complaint and mediation process? And just real quick, too, what's the turnaround in terms of how long does it take from my point of contact to some level of resolution?
Well, the basic process is that consumers contact contact us through a variety of sources. It can be calling us. We have a dedicated line where you can reach our consumer specialist directly. That's 202-626-5120. You can email us. You can post a complaint on our website, which is www.dcpsc.org. You can mail us. You can come into our offices. We're open between 9 and 5:30. So we get a complaint through any one of those sources. By municipal regulation, what we will do, we'll put it together after we kind of, probe the consumer to get all the relevant information. We'll put it together. We'll submit it to the utility. By regulation, they have 14 business days to respond, which is about 20 days. You have to look at this as an investigation. The consumer will give its view of the facts. We need to see from the utility what their response is to that allegation. So it doesn't always take 14 business days. It can be, sometimes we can turn these things around in a day or so, but that's the basic process. Once we get that response, and we look it over for sufficiency, and does it just make sense? Does it pass the smell test? And if it does, we'll then get in touch with the consumer and explain the response to them. Most complaints are settled and resolved at this stage, but not all. So once the consumer, here's what the response is. If they're satisfied, we close out the complaint. If they're not satisfied, we may go back to the utility for more information, or just kind of share their response to see how they respond to the response. And then if we get to a point where there's just, there's no going further, we offer that consumer the opportunity to have an informal hearing with the utility. Again, I spoke about this earlier, where they come in, we sit down face to face. We try to work this out because I think nobody wants to see these things going to formal complaints before the commission. They're time consuming. It could be, it may not be expensive, but time is money. So we try to work things out at that stage. We're pretty successful at that stage as well. And then if it's not resolved, then the consumer has the opportunity to file a formal complaint with the commission.
All right, thank you. So Maurice, and we're going to take questions from the audience. If you have a question, I think we're going to put a microphone back there in just a second. So if you have a question, please step to the mic. I have one final question for Maurice before we go to our Q&A. So Maurice, district utility consumers may not be aware that there is a Consumer Bill of Rights, also known as CBOR, and that's an acronym CBOR. Can you tell us more about what types of rights utility consumers have and where they can obtain more information about CBOR?
Okay, I happen to bring a copy of the CBOR.
Nice.
This is it. You can get these by request through the commission. It's also on our website, which I mentioned earlier. The District of Columbia was the second jurisdiction in the country to adopt a Consumer Bill of Rights. This was back in 1979. Michigan was the first. The CBOR, again, is part of our municipal regulations. These are rules that have been promulgated by the commission, and it governs all the rights and responsibilities of consumers in the District of Columbia. So it covers everything from billing to payments to deposits to disconnections. One kind of relevant regulation that's contained in the CBOR is that a utility cannot disconnect the consumer services on any day where it's forecast to be at 32 degrees or below in the district. So that comes into play very much during the winter season. That's just one of the many provisions that's in the CBOR. We revised it in 2009 because things have changed in the marketplace, and to accommodate and allow for the gas and electric suppliers, competitive suppliers, as well as competitive telecommunication suppliers.
All right. Do we have any questions from the audience? This is your time to find out additional information that you might have. Yes, ma'am. Please step to the microphone for me. Thank you so much. Oh,
I'm Julie Locke. I work with an affordable housing property.
hold on just 1 second. We're just going to adjust the microphone.
Or down, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Julie Locke. I work at Hubbard Place Apartments. It's affordable housing in Ward 1. And my biggest gripe, and I've worked with both of your agencies, and you're great, but with the
Thank you.
alternative, thank you.
Please stand in front of the directly. Yes, ma'am.
The alternative energy companies are a bunch of crooks. They really are. They can't match the RAD discount that the residents already get, and then the prices jack up, and it takes me a while to get them off that program, or I call you guys for backup. So any suggestions? What's the best way to do it?
Well, one thing now, and the commission worked on this, it used to, now, if you have a supplier, you used to would lose the RAD or the discount or the RES discount if you sign on with an alternative company. That's no longer the case. So that should not make a difference. But I acknowledge and recognize there are issues with suppliers from time to time. Keeps both of our offices plenty busy. We conduct outreach about suppliers. We try to give consumers knowledge.
But you do also have regulation over those suppliers, or you do not?
We have, they are subject to some regulations. We don't regulate them in the same sense that we regulate the utility companies, but there are, and we're working on rules right now to add more protections for consumers. So, I mean, the basic advice is let the buyer beware. Secondarily, if you have an issue, contact our offices.
I'd also like to address that. We're very much aware of the issues of, and now they're actually called third-party suppliers. So the name has changed, evolved over, the years. Our office has prepared an actual guide, and it's called A Guide to Third-Party Suppliers. My coworkers are actually in the lobby with a copy of that guide. We will be happy to come to your group and actually discuss what are some of those problems. We've successfully mitigated cases against third-party suppliers, and we welcome your call. So, don't be shy, pick up the phone, give us a call, and we will aggressively work on your behalf.
And one quick question, because you really have helped us a lot of the residents. And it's not just buyer beware. They call people who don't speak English, and they just sign you up. Do you want to save money on your electric? Sure, you're signed up. But there's a class action lawsuit now, too. Are either of your agencies involved with that? I imagine.
At this point, to my knowledge, the agency isn't involved just yet, but the attorneys in the office may be looking to see whether or not there is any way based on our mandate, if we can be a part of that.
Okay.
Is there any information out there from either one of your agencies where people can go about a particular company? And I'm not familiar with the third-party supplier companies, but I would imagine there may be one or two in particular that you say, let's not go with them. Is that some kind of information that you can put out to residents?
Actually, I'm going to give the mic to Marisa after I've made this statement. The Public Service Commission actually approves third-party suppliers, and they've got a list on their websites of approved third-party suppliers in the District of Columbia. There's no list per se that says you cannot use X, Y, or Z, and you can understand why for liability issues. However, information and education is key. And I do understand that for our residents who are non-English speaking, my office actually has one of our consumer outreach specialists, Sylvia Garrett, would come to your office. She speaks Spanish. She works a lot with a lot of our multilingual consumers. And that way we can help and pass the word on as far as education and information so that they're now empowered to make their best choices.
Just in the case of where somebody doesn't speak the language, I mean, we also have multilingual people, lingual people on our staff, but any kind of transaction that's like not permissible, we will reverse it. I mean, if there's something wrong, John, and we will ensure that the consumer is made whole. Yeah, these things, there are some practices out there, but we're extremely successful in reversing any harm done to the consumer.
Excellent. That's excellent to hear. Any other questions? No other questions? Okay, we're going to take another quick break. It's going to be 5 minutes. We're almost on schedule. So we're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to come back with our final panel. And that final panel, we're going to talk about some best practices in terms of winterizing your home. So please stay with us. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Let's give our second panel a round of applause, please. Thank you so much for your time. Did you have a final? I'm so sorry. We just one quick second.
Yes,
please.
please.
We have one final statement. I'm so sorry. Yes, sir.
So the question that was asked was about residents that need their snow removed. We didn't talk about the residents that want to help out and remove snow.
Yeah.
So please, please, please do take advantage of our the Mayor's DC Volunteer Snow Team. You can get more information about it at serve.dc.gov. That's all I wanted to say. We need volunteers, especially in wards 4, 5, 7, and 8. 4, 5, 7, and 8. We really need more volunteers, so please spread the word. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Again, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.